Back to Martinsville, 160 laps complete, where the only change in the top 10 is Ricky Rudd moving up to 10th, displacing Jeff Burton. Andy Hillenberg and Casey Atwood, the only cars in the garage at 161 laps. We come up on 1/3 distance. Jerry Nadeau was leading at the last restart. He's fallen back to 13th. Make that 14th now as Bobby Labonte moves past.
And I think the big problem with Jerry Nadeau, he's getting up there about 130, 140 laps on his tires. That's when it really starts sliding around. And he's probably only another 30 or so laps away from having to come to pit road because he's going to need fuel and tires.
Yeah, that gamble, I mean, you know, all those early cautions, sometimes we get into a situation where we have a lot of long green laps, and boy, that can bite you.
Johnny Benson fighting hard to stay on the lead lap against Tony Stewart.
Those guys, Hermie Sadler and Johnny Benson both have held Tony up for quite a while here, but I don't think it's enough to make a lot of difference. Tony's car is working so good, he can just, if he's patient, he just finally works his way right around them.
And you know what will happen in Martinsville? Yeah, as Tony Stewart, the leader, catches traffic, that helps Jeff Gordon, the 24
Trouble,
car
turn two, Robbie Gordon. No caution.
If he can get to pit road, I doubt he'll be able to get to pit road this time. Looks like he has a flat right front. He will not get to pit road.
Better watch out, hauling off in the third turn there. She got a right front down.
He's going to lose a lot of laps.
Stay smooth, bud.
It's Tim Overby, a spotter, trying to find him a hole where he can get to the bottom. He's about a half a lap from having to get back to try to get to pit road again. And the leader's coming.
Tough day for Richard Childress Racing. Driver Kevin Harvick parked by NASCAR, not allowed to compete. Jeff Green, not very competitive. And now Robbie Gordon with a cut tire.
And that could be a product of a cut tire, or it could be the heat, the brake heat, causing that right front tire to blow out.
And what it'll do, there's a bead that seals against the rim. That rim will absorb so much heat, it'll just cook the bead of the tire. The bead is much tougher than it used to be, but still, if you're using a lot of brake, it won't take that much.
Guys, we got brakes better here. Goodyear had to go to work and make the bead of the tire tougher than it ever been, and it's just a product of this racetrack.
14th place at stake here. Rusty Wallace restarted 21st. Was well back after pit stops, and now Dale Jarrett is by.
Now get your rhythm.
And Darrell, it don't look like Rusty in the two. He can't keep his car down in the middle, and in turn, it will not get a bite up off the corner. He's like having to pedal the throttle off the corner.
I was watching him there, and he takes a real wide, he gets a late apex into the turn. He's been leaving the bottom wide open for everybody, and I guess that's because his car's probably too tight, Steve.
The DW, Rusty is telling Billy Wilburn, his crew chief, that he's loose getting off the corners, and also to further complicate matters, that's a brand new race car for Rusty Wallace. It has never been raced or tested. Caution's out.
Well, Brett, now this is an old short track trick, and we are at a short track. You have trouble, you pull up in turn 2 and you stop. The yellow flag waves, and on you go. So,
yeah, I couldn't believe it. Robbie Gordon didn't do that. You know, he hung up on the outside to stop. And Hermie gets saved again. He gets a lap back.
So do drivers like Rusty Wallace.
Oh, he did not get a lap back. I thought he was passing the leader there.
Brett, again, looks like the same sort of problem. Cuts down a tire.
Yeah, I mean, in turn, Robbie Gordon's 4 laps down. Brett Bodine now only lost 1 lap by stopping on the racetrack and the caution coming out. Quite a difference.
There is, however, the possibility of a judgment call as to whether or not Bodine was unable to move. Maybe he cut the tire and the car stalled, you know, or
just never know. That's a judgment thing.
Drew the caution.
And we speculate the same thing might have happened to Brett Bodine, because we are getting a report that the bead on the right front of the 31 car, Robbie Gordon, it did melt the bead, and that's just too much brake heat.
Lots of brake heat here. Well over 1,000 degrees for a lot of laps.
We should see about all the leaders to pit road, because most of them's been out there for almost 100 laps. So everybody should come to pit road, 4 tires, adjustments, full up with fuel.
Now this will put Hermie Sadler, Johnny Benson on the tail end of the lead lap should they choose to stay out. Here come the leaders, and you'll follow Fox tracks to find their pit stalls. Matt?
Mike, on the previous pit stop, Tony Stewart made a track bar adjustment and an air pressure adjustment. This stop, Greg Zipadelli's crew chief said, what do you want this time, Smokey? He says, I don't know, 4 tires? He says, all right, that's what you get. Steve Burns?
Well, Matt, Jeff Gordon's only adjustment, a half pound out of the right rear tire. 4 tire change for Jeff Gordon. Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the 8 car, 1 pound out of both rear tires. Gordon is out.
Dick Berggren.
Jeff Burton just came in. He took 4 tires, took a round of wedge in the left rear. They really badly needed that pit stop, Mike. They figured they could only go about 20 more laps on the fuel that they had in the car. Tires were pretty well worn out. Made an air pressure adjustment. He had dropped from 2nd all the way back to 13th spot.
Dale Jarrett in his pit, but out of the box. Backed it in, and now they complete service. Hermie Sadler and Johnny Benson did pit, so they will not be in front of the leaders on the tail end of the lead lap when we restart.
And the rear winners on pit road, Terry Labonte's group, he comes in 6th, goes out 4th. Ricky Rudd came in 10th, goes out 6th. Boy, it's like buying a lot of laps out there on that racetrack trying to pass cars. Much easier to pass them on pit road.
Make that old driver happy.
Jeff?
Michael's sitting there watching the guys come off pit road again, and this pit road is bit. Bill Elliott, he got caught coming off pit road and got put down a lap.
So Elliott goes a lap down. Tony Stewart retains the lead here in Martinsville. Jeff Gordon, Dale Earnhardt Jr., Terry Labonte, and Mike Skinner.
Clear.
Got to be fast on. You got to be fast on pit road and not just making your pit stop. As Stacy Compton pulls away. Welcome back to Martinsville. Green flag. Tony Stewart, Jeff Gordon, Dale Earnhardt Jr., Terry Labonte, Mike Skinner, then Ricky Rudd, Ricky Craven, Bobby Hamilton, Ryan Newman, Matt Kenseth, the top 10.
We're at lap 180. This is the first time since about lap 25. Everybody is pretty much on equal tires now. Pretty much all the leaders pitting that time since the last caution was back on lap 100.
Yeah, the racing at the front could get very interesting. We got the best cars at the front with the best tires on them, so it could get real interesting.
We still have 26 cars on the lead lap.
I got to believe if Jeff's got anything for Tony, he's probably going to get on up there and get after him.
Steve?
Mike, Dale Earnhardt Jr. came in. They put on 4 new tires. They took a pound out of both rear tires and air pressure adjustment. And his biggest problem right now, he told the crew that the straw that leads to his water can will not bring water in. He's sucking air. And he said, that's hardcore at Martinsville, Matt Yoakum.
Steve, Terry Labonte has climbed to 4th. I spoke with his crew chief, Jim Long. He said, we really haven't made any adjustments. Just 4 tires. Terry is patiently just riding along, working his way through traffic. This is a brand new drop snout car, similar to the one Jeff Gordon sat on the pole with here last year. And keep in mind, he is having a good day, on pace to score his first top 10 finish at Martinsville since the spring race in 1998 when he finished 6th.
When we were doing the qualifying show, and I was talking to Terry, and I said, well, you have sat on the pole here, and he thought about it a minute, and he said, that was 21 years ago. I said, I know, you beat me that day. That's how I remembered.
Dick Berggren.
Well, Matt Kenseth came into the pits running at 11th spot. He came out in 10th position. Minor adjustments to that car. Let's point out that Kenseth came into this race 2nd in points. He has won 2 out of the 7 races that have been held in this series so far this year. He has been very hot. It's his best start ever to a Winston Cup season.
Matt Kenseth carrying our 1-800-CALL-ATT cam today. You can win a trip to a NASCAR race when you call collect with 1-800-CALL-ATT.
He doesn't make a note that Casey Atwood, after being in the garage for 109 laps, he's back out on the racetrack. So 185 laps into this race, 42 of the 43 cars that started are out there running. Andy Hillenberg in the 71, the only car that's out.
Now, let me tell you who's about to get aggressive, and that's the car with the big bullseye on the hood, Jimmy Spencer. Spencer got caught a lap down when he did not beat the stop sign paddle coming out of pit road, and right now he's positioned right behind the 2 leaders. Can Spencer get one of his laps back? He's down more than a lap.
He's 3 laps down. Lost a lap when he got caught by the stop and go man. Another couple of laps when he had the flat tire and spun over in 1 and 2.
Pretty good. He hit that wall pretty hard with that left front, and he's back running pretty good.
And if there's a place, if you can get to the front, if there's a place you can make laps up, Martinsville, a lot like Bristol, you can make laps up at Martinsville.
Oh, yeah, if you can close up on the inside there, you know, go all the way to the front on those restarts, you've got the advantage going down into turn 1. And, of course, we've seen once you get out front, it's pretty hard to get past.
Mike Skinner with Ricky Rudd on his bumper. Inside Johnny Benson, who is 1 lap down now.
And Dale Jarrett in the 88 car, Ricky Rudd's teammate, he's a lap down as well.
Yeah, from the penalty that they held him there in the pits. And I'm really surprised. I thought Jarrett was going to have a good day. I watched his car in happy hour. It was pretty good. Really good on the long run. Boy, hadn't shown it so far today.
You know, Mike Skinner at the head of that group has had 3 top 10s in his last 5 Martinsville races, a 4th, a 6th, and an 8th. So he's on pace for a good day. Up at the front now, it's just 0.3 of a second. Well, it's less than that now between Tony Stewart and Jeff Gordon, Matt.
Well, guys, you heard the report on the 31 car that Robbie Gordon had melted a bead. The bead between the tire and the wheel had gotten so hot that it actually melted. You can see here on the wheel, this is Bobby Hamilton's right front tire that they're going to put on the next stop. They put the heat reflective tape just to try to help out any way possible. You see the roll of it here. They put some all the way around the inside shoulder of the wheel. They're going to do that on the left front as well, just to try to help out.
The inside of that wheel is tan. That is Teflon coating. They don't want any rubber sticking to that wheel, throwing it out of balance. And there's a look from suspension cam.
Plus, the caliper runs right up next. I mean, it almost touches that wheel. There's only a few thousandths clearance in there. Sometimes a lug nut or a piece of rubber get hung in there, and it can rip the brakes right off the car.
See that rotor glowing every time Bobby Hamilton drives down into the corner. You can see almost when he comes off the brake pedal. Else, you know, you'll use a lot of brake and then you'll start to trail out of that brake just a little bit. But any brake applied still creating heat.
Ideally, you want to get the car slowed down while it's still going straight. Because if you're on the brakes getting in the corner, you're going to get the front end sliding or you're going to get the back end around. So you try to stop it while it's still going straight and then get off the pedal.
Six laps. We'll be at 40% distance. Tony Stewart out front. We move from NASCAR's slowest track to the fastest speedway on earth, Talladega, Alabama, next weekend. The International Motorsports Hall of Fame will be holding its induction next week, its annual induction, and then we'll see Winston Cup and Busch Racing at Talladega on FX.
There's the man right there that won this race a year ago, Bobby Hamilton. He's sitting here right now in 8th place. I think they figured out maybe 2 tires wasn't the way to go. Took on 4 tires on that last stop. Here again, we're looking at the right front of Bobby Hamilton Jr.'s. This is actually Bobby Hamilton Sr.'s car.
He did a Busch race.
Did a Busch race yesterday. Bobby Hamilton Jr. ran well there.
He did. Had a good day. Him and old Fred.
You know what it says on Bobby Hamilton Jr.'s birth certificate? Charles Robert Hamilton the fourth. The fourth. But for our purposes, he's Bobby Jr. This fella is Bobby the third, but it's Bobby Sr. as far as NASCAR fans know. Close enough. Matt Yoakum.
Well, you guys were talking a lot about brakes and how hot they can get. A lot of teams battle that heat in many ways. When you talk to Jeff Gordon's crew chief, Robbie Loomis, they actually have 3 blowers on each front tire. They've got one that blows on the bead, one that blows on the inside shoulder, so that way maybe if they're running a little more camber, it does cool the temperature. In fact, their infrared sensor during testing showed 15 degrees cooler when they had that blower blowing on that inside shoulder of the right front tire.
And what these blowers are, if you have a that has an inboard motor, you have to cut a blower on to blow the fumes out of the engine compartment. All those blowers are, and you can run 3 per wheel. A lot of times they'll run 1 on each rear wheel. That's even the blowers they'll use to cool the driver as well. We've had as many as 8, 9, 10 blowers on our car before.
And they pull a lot of amps, and a lot of times it's very hard on the battery, obviously, and on the whole system. The alternator and the battery, you can have problems with all those fans on this short track like this.
You cure one problem and hope you don't cause another. Tony Stewart's lead over Jeff Gordon, just a couple of car lengths.